Hello, and welcome to the second episode of the mobile CAD training for the ARMS browser solution. In this episode, we're going to take a look at actually interacting with the CAD side of ARMS, interacting with the dispatcher who's actively using the dispatch console, interacting with other officers that may be on other calls already, and then finally taking a look at creating our own calls and how to work with those as well. By the end of this video, you should be able to perform any standard dispatching duties that a dispatcher would normally be responsible for. However, you'll be able to perform those same functions on your own unit, on your own calls, adding and issuing case reports as needed. And here we are. So for our first example, we're going to start with a clean slate. By that I mean I'm currently already on my CAD screen, and I am looking at my open calls. So when I look at this menu right now, I have no open calls in the system. So now what I can do is I can begin to interact with any new calls that are coming in. And in this case, what I'm talking about is calls that are being created by a dispatcher and assigned to me. So for a quick break, we're going to move away from the browser, and I'm going to put on my dispatcher hat. My dispatcher is going to create a new call and assign my unit to it. My unit in the system is unit C4. And I also know that this user, as a dispatcher, is logged into MobileCAD because of that green little flag next to my unit. So that's a little helpful hint to the dispatchers out there of who's looking at MobileCAD and who's not. But anyway, so for my example, I'm going to add in a call. Now I'm just going to put in a basic call here, nothing too fancy. I'm going to assign myself to a foot patrol. I'm going to do that foot patrol at my museum. So once I have my call added into the system here, I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and I'm going to assign C4 to that call just by double-clicking on my unit. Up to this point, this is no different than what your dispatcher is normally used to accomplishing here. I created a call, I assigned a unit to it. So if I minimize my CAD screen here, you'll notice that in my browser, I have automatically been updated to show my new call that the dispatcher has assigned me to. I can see that down here in the corner, it's actually put a little alert box saying that I've received a new call. So I can X that out to close out of that. And now I have the call that the dispatcher has assigned me to. At this point, this can go a number of different ways depending on your departmental policies and how the event proceeds. So let's kind of talk about a few of the options here. From here, I can perform any changes to this CAD event that a dispatcher would normally do. So for example, I can set my en route time. I'll put my en route time at 12:21 just by hitting this button. Once I hit that en route button, it's automatically going to change to set arrived. So this button is going to automatically move forward each step depending on what the previous step was. So in my case right now, it's set arrived. If I hit it again, it'll change to set cleared. So that will allow me to put in my timestamps without having to have a dispatcher do that for me. Now, some other things that I can handle from here. Let's say I wanted to add a note. I'm doing a foot patrol at a museum, so let's say I wanted to add a note about something I found. Door 2A was unlocked. I type in my note, I hit save. That's going to put that note into my call. And now I can continue to work this call like I normally would, adding notes, updating my times. Everything a dispatcher would normally do from the CAD station, I can do it from my mobile laptop or mobile device like a smartphone or a tablet from wherever I am. Now, everything I'm doing here is visible from the CAD side as well. So if we look at the CAD call that we just had open, I haven't refreshed or clicked anything on here, but it's going to show me that the notes, door 2A was unlocked. It's automatically showing me my updated times. So the dispatcher will see that information automatically on their side, just kind of helping create that communication path between officer and dispatcher. Basically the same thing as what a radio is already doing, but it's going to help assist with that and help supplement your radio traffic at the same time. Now, some of the other things I may want to be able to interact with from here. If you notice right above my location, I've got a link for common name. So what this link does is it will open up and show me everything I have information-wise about that location. So that could be any of the general info, longitude, latitude, name of the building, any of the call history that's occurred there. So I can look at each and every incident that's occurred there recently, starting with the most recent, going backwards in time. I can see any security matrix information, any hazmat information, any officer safety information, phone numbers under contact info, blueprints under the blueprints tab. So all this information that I have about my location in ARMS, I have access to it once my dispatcher has assigned me to that call. So this is normally what a dispatcher would have access to, but I have access to it from here as well. Some other things I can do from here, you'll notice up at the top, I have an edit button. Now I only have the edit if I'm assigned to that call. I can't edit a call that I'm not already on. That is the biggest difference between a mobile CAD officer and a dispatcher in the CAD client. A dispatcher can control the entire chessboard and all the pieces on it and move everything around regardless of who's on that call and who's not on that call. A mobile CAD officer can only modify and affect the calls that they are currently assigned to. So in this case, I have the edit button. However, if I switch this from my open calls to all open calls and I click a different call, notice if I look at this vehicle stop, my edit button goes away. However, I do have the ability to add me to this call. So if I ever needed to add myself to a call without having a dispatcher do it for me, that's when I would use that add me to the call function. First though, let's take a look at actually clearing out our call that we're assigned to right now. If we move over next to edit, you'll notice I have my issue report button. So if I clicked issue report, it's going to automatically put in my occurred from and to times required by Clery. And then I can just hit save, and that will automatically issue a case report for me, show me my number, show me who issued it, and it will go ahead and add it to my call information as well up here at the top. So once I've issued my report, that button's grayed out. I can only issue one report per CAD event. But I can continue to edit this call. I can continue to add notes to this call. The other two options here are just various print functions. I have the ability to read notes. So that means that I can see all these notes at once without having to scroll through them if this was a call that had a bunch of notes on them. I can just do that just by clicking read notes. And then also a print button in case I ever needed to print the CAD incident report out. Now this is a CAD incident report. This is different from the case report. But that does give me the ability to print from here as well. So this example so far has been a dispatcher adding me to a call and then me kind of taking it over from that point. Because once I finish with everything, I can go ahead and hit set cleared, pick my disposition, same thing that a officer or a dispatcher would normally have to do. I'll just go ahead and call this report to follow. I hit select, and that's going to clear me off of that call, and now my open calls list is automatically blanked out again. From the dispatch side, my unit is green and available to be dispatched again. My call is closed out and cleared. So with that, I have a dispatcher that created an initial event, and I came in, added some information, put in my times, issued a case report, and closed it out. Now, let's go back to our earlier example of this vehicle stop that's going on. So I have this vehicle stop, and I see maybe I get a radio that I need to go show up as backup. Maybe I want to go drive by there, whatever the case may be there. I can come up here and click Add Me to this call. So when I do that, that's going to now add myself. Notice in the notes it automatically puts in there, C4 add itself to call at 12:27 p.m. Automatically gave me my new call alert again as well. So now I can flip back over to my open calls, and this is now one of my open calls. So I can see that call down here, and I can see all of its information up here at the top. At this point, we're in no different of a situation than we were when the dispatcher created the call. I can now edit this call. I can now add notes. I can issue a case report. All those same functionalities that we were just talking about, I can now do from here because I've added myself to the call. Before that, I couldn't do any of that because unless I'm assigned to the call, I can't interact with that call outside of viewing it. Now, if I go ahead and set my arrived and my cleared times here, my last way that a mobile CAD officer can interact with a call is going to be if they create the call themselves. So if I come up here to new and I hit my little down arrow, you'll notice I have 5 little quick access points of creating a new call. The first 4 create a CAD event, and then the last one will create a patrol activity. If you remember from the previous video, patrol activity is like a simple CAD event in the system. If you want any more information about that, go review the first part of this series. However, the top 4 here will actually give you the ability to create a CAD event while only showing you the fields that apply to that type of call. So let me show you an example. If I go into vehicle stop is going to give me fields like vehicle license, state, color, make, model, location, things that apply to a vehicle stop. If I X out of that and I look at something like a secure check, I've got different fields here. My vehicle information's gone. I can now only put in incident codes that my administrator has marked as secure check worthy. So I can't make an assault CAD event a secure check. If I type in B, I'm not going to get things like burglary. I'm going to get things like building check. And this just kind of helps you fill out this form faster and while making sure that you have the correct information in all the fields. But like I said, this is going to have things like location, reporting party, activity codes automatically defaulted to officer initiated for you. So as best we can, we fill out as much of this information for you, and then you can put in any of the missing kind of spot check here to create your secure check or building check incident in this case. The last example we're going to look at here is just other. So an other is basically anything. There's no limits on these fields, so I can put in any type of incident. So if I type out B, I can get building check. I can also get into looking at burglaries. I can also get into looking at larcenies, assaults. Any type of incident code that I have access to in the system, I can put in here as an incident. Same thing with locations, same thing with all of my activity codes and everything else down here. This is a miscellaneous incident. So that means I can put anything into here that doesn't fit into the vehicle stop, secure check, field interview, cookie cutter mold. I can put that into here underneath this miscellaneous all other category. Either way, all roads lead to home here. So once I create the call, that's going to add this call into the system to where the dispatcher and all other officers in the system can see it and interact with it if they have that ability to. And it's just as easy as filling out the information. That's kind of what we want to make sure is everything is quick and simple here to where we don't have to linger too much on any of these screens to create whatever sort of incident it is that we're looking for. So with about 5 mouse clicks just then, I clicked to build a building check at a museum, and it went ahead and put me as arrived. So now all I have to do is hit my set clear time when I'm ready to clear, and there we go. I've created a call. I kept track of my times. I could have issued a case report. I could have added notes. I could have done any of the other items that we've taken a look at during this episode, but I did it all on my own. I didn't have a dispatcher create the call. I didn't have to jump onto a call that was already running. I started it from scratch and worked through it the entire way. All right, in our next episode, we're going to take a look at building a case report off of these CAD incidents that we've created in mobile. We're going to start a case report from scratch and take a look at what all the fields are that are required to get a case report submitted for approval. If you have any questions about CAD, please give us a call, 1-800-776-6783, or you can always email us support@arms.com. Thank you.